Woo, didn't let me on the first time. I'm a little early. Not too early. How is everybody? How is everybody? Get yourself ready. Part of my getting ready involves, as I often share with you, going to pilfer dahlias at my neighbor's garden. Oh, the color doesn't look the same here. This magenta one, these peach like sunbursts, and then this the solid peach one. Anyhow, put these over here. Hello, 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 friends. Thanks for joining me today. As usual, Sundays, 10 o'clock, while Sun and Moon Studio is in session, Sun and Moon Yoga Studio. Please do check out our website, sunandmoonstudio.com, and join us remotely or in person for practices to deepen our joy, our sense of being, our ability to find equanimity. Hello, Steve. Hello. Thanks for being here and for putting something in the chat. I know, since some of you sign up, and that's really helpful for me. No cost, but helps me to know that you'll be watching at some point. So hello to Anne Catherine, to Nancy, and maybe Brando will watch, maybe my friend Lana in Portland, Oregon. All over the world we can be together. So today I'm thinking of what draws us in. Now I've forgotten what I titled this. I titled it something else. I've titled it with a line. I got it from the poem I'm about to read to you, or I will very soon. So I was mentioning getting what you need. That's an important part of supporting our practice, right? So as I was bustling around this morning, I felt very humid and hot. I turned the AC up 1 degree, and now I feel a little cool. So I did get my wrap. Get what you need to lie down on the floor comfortably. We're going to be there in a moment. Could do it in bed. That's possible as well. It's different. There's a different thing that happens, but it'll be valuable. You could do this practice from sitting. You could do it from standing as well. So again, yogi's option, practitioner's option. So let's do that. Let's get on the ground. I'll adjust my camera opening then. Let's see. I feel like I'm forgetting something this morning. So we'll get on the ground with knees bent. I'm not wearing my earbuds, and I like that because the bell comes across. My niece helped me figure that out last week. I had thought I had tried it before, but with her here, we figured that out. So, but I'm going to try to speak loudly so the microphone picks me up. All right, so on our back, you can do what you like with as we center, maybe legs straight along the ground, or again, you might be in a chair or standing. I'm going to build on some of what we did last week, standing. Refine that a little bit in a different position. So just find the ground. You don't have to adjust too much. Just land here and arrive. You can close your eyes. I like leaning my knees against each other in this supine bent knee position. Puts a little opening on the lower back. It just makes it a slight bit easier. So arriving, what does it take to arrive? The noticing. We're already here, so just arriving. And feeling the ground, for us to truly feel our presence. Feeling the ground. With all the mechanisms available to us to feel it. Part of it is, a lot of it is touch, right? And the gravity, feeling gravity, a kinesthetic, or I'm not sure if that's proprioceptive, something like that could be. that we sense the parts of us, our back of our head, the back of our shoulders or arms. We feel the relationship of our rib cage to the ground, our lower back, our hips. And if your legs are bent like mine, then just your soles of your feet and the back of the hips are providing information, but you sense the relationship of the legs to the ground. Some of that probably is from memory of the parts of us moving together, moving, of course, on this ground, in this space. And then open up to listening, to hearing sound. Birds, the vent blowing. Your own breath. And then include feeling and hearing and touching the breath. It's not like we have to do anything to touch it. It's touching us actually as it's moving through nostrils, trachea, into the lung spaces, sending a wave through the body. Stay where you are. I'm going to come up and I'm going to read this poem to you. I received it from Jackie, my friend, dear friend, and who runs offers meditation on Fridays. And she in turn receives regular poetry deposits from a friend of hers, a long, long time friend who lives, I think, in New Hampshire. This is called The Second Music by Annie Lighthart. Now I understand that there are two melodies playing, one below the other, one easier to hear, the other lower, steady, perhaps more faithful for being less heard, yet always present. When all other things seem lively and real, this one fades, yet the notes of it touch as gently as fingertips, as the sound of the names laid over each child at birth. I want to stay in that music without striving or cover. If the truth of our lives is what is playing, the telling is so soft that this mortal time, this irrevocable change, becomes beautiful. I stop and stop again to hear the second music. I hear the children in the yard, a train, then birds. All this is in it and will be gone. I set my ear to it as I would to a heart. I set my ear to it as I would to a heart. So we feel all this first music, all the sounds that we can name, and the sensations of movement, touch, play, joy, sadness, various emotions, tastes, smells. And yet they're all in this second music. So, if your knees are leaning against each other, set them apart. If your legs are long and straight at the knee, bend them. And now, just push into your left leg a little bit so the left hip lifts, and then lower that and pause. And then we do that again, just pushing into the left foot. Just a tiny lift of the hip you'll feel. The hip will begin to roll to the right, the hips will roll, and then lower back down, fully letting go to that place of arriving, of pause. And just very slowly like this, a tiny lift. And the legs don't so much fall to the side. The knees stay pointing upward. And so it's just a lift of the hip. There is a movement we do a lot in yoga where we take the knees to the side, and that's wonderful and not what I'm doing at this point. So if you're sitting in a chair, you can be doing this. The knee kind of goes forward. If you're standing, you're shifting your weight like we did last week into your more fully into your left foot, left leg, left side of the body, and then letting the weight come back. So this is another way to explore how think of like our bodies as a sack filled with a fluid, which in a way it is. Lots of different parts in that fluid, and some of them are hard, like the bones. But really, we have a very fluid body within us. So make sure you stop real well when you come back to where we started. And then let it go. We've done that maybe 10 times. Let it go. Knees can stay bent, lean against each other or straight. And if you're standing, just stand if you like, or sitting, just sit. And just take this time to listen. Listen for that first music, but also aware that the second music is there, setting your ear to it. Something's new in the body, something's different. Maybe you don't notice anything. That's okay. And that's the information that you're collecting. Maybe you do, and just see what that is. All right, let's do it again. Let's do the same side. Left leg presses, left knee. It's really then follow the leg. Like I like to connect the dots and connect up through the belly, chest, neck, head, shoulders, arms, and then let it back down. Full stop. Like a period at the end of a sentence. I'm rolling my head to see you guys. So see, I don't know why I need to see, but I want to remind myself to speak loudly enough or to speak in your direction. So full stop. In those quiet stops, when we stop, I think we get a little more available to the second music. There's also an intention there. All right, after this pause and just marinate in it, feel it, receive what you're feeling and what messages come from the body, from the heart, from the nervous system. And before we do the other side, just imagine, simply imagine that you're pushing into your right foot and letting the left, with that action, the right hip, lifts a little bit and then lowers back down. And what you may notice when I invite you to just imagine is that a little bit of something goes, something happens. That's a good sign that your nervous system is working well. So pushing, now actually do it. Push into the right foot and leg a little bit. Remember, the knees are not going over to the side. You will feel the hips shift. The left hip will bear more of the weight. So the right hip lifts up a little, and it doesn't have to lift up off the ground much, just unweighting it, as they say in Feldenkrais, just unweight it a little. And allow for these movements to be as fluid, as harmonious, as easy as possible as we begin to go back and forth now. With a little, at least a comma in between, a little pause, and notice perhaps something interesting. I feel quite a bit more of some little hitch something catches in my right hip. And if you notice something like that, just have that intention be there. How do we make this easier? How do we get around the hitch, through the hitch, under the hitch, the catch? Maybe it's lift a little bit less. And that will be how it gets easier. Maybe even just imagine it to make it easier. And then let it go. Let me see what time we're at. Let it go. Pause. Pause and receive the stillness. Receive what your body might be telling you, reporting, or simply the quiet. Maybe the body is saying, "Oh, I like this. Why don't we do this more?" And then with that same kind of attention, bend the knees again, even as you're coming from one position to another. And again, for the first few moments, just imagine that you're doing this sort of walking in place. And you'll feel maybe the body just starts the very beginnings of that movement, but that's not the intention here. Just let it be in the imagination, envisioning how this feels, how it's done, what mechanisms are called into place, how all of your body assists you. And I have to confess, I can feel the slight movement, and I'm going to let that now. Let's let it become a little bit more of an actual movement. You might go faster. That might shake the head. And then go slow again. And see, is there something that got easier this time around? Maybe you found that you could hollow the belly a little to let this happen better. Or maybe arch the lower back a little more to let this happen more easily. Maybe you feel the transmission up the spine, like in a car, the wheel rotation, or I don't know how it exactly works. The engine goes to rotate the wheels, but the axis somehow rolls to the back wheels. That axis being like our spine. Slower, faster, maybe pausing somewhere, just stopping somewhere midstream. Seeing, is it easy to pause and then continue to go? Fluidly and with joy, enjoyably. Almost, I feel like I'm almost dancing on the ground. And then you can continue a little bit more, and pretty soon let the movement go. Into the stillness, into the quiet. Take your time. You may decide that you'd like to stay right where you are. If, like me, you're going to choose to come up to seated, do so mindfully, paying attention to minding how each movement happens, what is called to push, yield, shift. As you get ready for silence, stillness. Getting what you need to support the stillness, to support the posture. And once again, whether you're on your back, sitting in a chair, standing, the standing option, sometimes people are in such pain in their backs that standing is the only comfortable place. So we're finding what supports us, feeling what supports us, whether that's like for me, I need a pillow under one of my knees. And arriving, just finding that sense of ground and gravity. That gives us this sense of our verticality and this strong sense of what supports us, even if you're reclining still. Verticality with reference to the spine. And sound, which is code word for sound and space around. So we hear and we connect the in here to the out there. And then breath. And you may notice that these pointers help to bring you to, what was the phrase? Set your ear close. Set your ear close to listen for that second music. That quieter, shyer, always present, that which holds all the first music, all the sounds and experiences. And so we'll begin our 8-minute meditation, stillness, silence together. And I won't speak very much during this silence, but from time to time, perhaps to pull that ear back to the second music. And just one final setting up attention might be to hands, feet, and seat. And this is simply listening, being, breathing, and just invite whatever tool you need if you find yourself, your mind running off with you. Breath, hands, feet, sound, ground. Sometimes we can remind ourselves to just relax a little bit more. Sometimes we can remind ourselves that it's allowed to feel, you're allowed to feel joy during meditation. And you can notice what ways you talk to yourself as you find yourself in a mind storm. You wake up to that, and what do you say to yourself? Perhaps you can meet yourself with tenderness and understanding and celebration that you became aware, that you noticed, and how simple it is to come back. A few more breaths together. And you might join me in bringing your palms together in front of the heart, bowing. And feeling the communication that we feel within that. I'm about done with my time, but perhaps if you want to stay a little longer, if you need to go, of course, go. I'll read the poem again, and then I'll copy it into the notes, the show notes. The Second Music by Annie Lighthart. Now I understand that there are two melodies playing, one below the other, one easier to hear, the other lower, steady, perhaps more faithful for being less heard, yet always present. When all other things seem lively and real, this one fades, yet the notes of it touch as gently as fingertips, as the sound of names laid over each child at birth. I want to stay in that music without striving or cover. If the truth of our lives is what's playing, the telling is so soft that this mortal time, this irrevocable change, becomes beautiful. I stop and stop again to hear the second music. I hear the children in the yard, a train, then birds. All this is in it and will be gone. I set my ear to it as I would to a heart. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Maybe these images can be helpful as we go through our day and our week to set our ear to the second music. And the image, I may change it, but I came across these plants yesterday. One house near us is surrounded by them. They actually look kind of like giant marijuana leaves, but they're very reddish. And they're just so beautiful. So in a way, all these things that are in the first music, the sounds, but also the movement, the emotions, the textures, the issues, the conflicts, all of this can draw us to the second music. We set our ear to it, or set our eyes to it, or set our heart to it. So thank you for joining me in that. The movement today, this movement just brings me so much freedom and connection to myself. I hope it sets us up. For me, it sets us up for the quiet, for the stillness, and perhaps you find that's true. And if you have questions about it, it's drawn from the awareness through movement practice of Feldenkrais. It's what I've been studying the last, say, 15 years. Sort of, I feel like it is yoga. That's a longer story of how it is yoga. Many would probably argue that, but many yoga teachers incorporate it, and it's listening and feeling and finding our path for ourselves. It's this independence, and we also help each other with that. So thanks again. I'm rambling a bit there at the end. I'll see you next week, and I don't think no announcements. Ciao, ciao. Thank you so much.